Welcome to the Rock Interview Series with host Thomas S. Orwatt Jr.
Welcome to episode number 103 of the Rock Interview Series. I'm Thomas Orwatt Jr. It is June 20th, 2024, and for this feature, I have guitar superstar Doug Aldrich of the Dead Daisies as my guest. During this episode, Doug gives us an update on the current Dead Daisies tour. We also talk about the new Dead Daisies single entitled Light 'Em Up and their new record scheduled to be released later this year. In addition, Doug talks about his experiences as a member of two of the biggest bands in hard rock music, DIO and Whitesnake. So let's get started. Here is Doug Aldrich. Hey everyone, welcome to the Rock Interview Series, and we have a great special. We have guitar superstar Doug Aldrich with us today. Doug is currently on tour with the Dead Daisies. They're in Hollywood, California, I believe, as we speak, for show number 9 on a 10-day tour. Doug, how's everything going on tour so far?
Good, Thomas. Thanks for having me on, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good because I'm talking to you, man. You're one of my favorite
Uh,
guitarists, so I'm pretty excited
uh,
about this.
I'm I'm thankful. Thanks, man. That's very kind. Yeah, we're out here. We've got a couple more shows on this U.S. run, and then we're gearing up for Europe and the U.K. and all that later in the year.
So let's talk about the new single that you're promoting right now. It's called Light 'Em Up. I'm assuming that this is going to be from a full-length record that's going to be coming out soon.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out September 6th, I believe it is.
Okay.
September 6th, and this is the first single. We put it out. We wanted to. We didn't have a plan really, but at the beginning of the year, we started talking about putting out new music with Karabi since John's back, and we just got on a roll and had a bunch of songs, and it turned into an album. And Light 'Em Up is the first single. It was it was a riff that was taken from Marty Fredrickson brought it in, and he got it from Stevie D from Buck Cherry, and then we kind of rewrote the song around his riff. And yeah, it's a fun song, just straight ahead kick-ass rock.
Yeah, I mean it's typical Dead Daisies. I mean, you guys you have the formula for these kick-ass songs. Pretty much ever since the
It's
band formed in 2012, and you joined in 2016, and it keeps going. I mean, there's been a lot of members that have come and gone, but I mean, I
yeah,
think the lineup you have right now it's the best lineup by far.
there's been a lot of great lineups. I mean, the lineup that when I first when I first heard of the Dead Days, it was Richard Fortus and Marco Mendoza and those guys, and I thought that was a really solid lineup. And then GNR comes back, and then they called me. So, and there's been some great lineups. We've had a few different drummers, and we had Glenn Hughes for a minute, um, which was awesome. But John really is the voice of the band. He's I Thomas, I've been blessed to work with some great singers, Coverdale and Dio, and Karabi he's right there. He's really a badass.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people were very happy that he returned to the band. I mean, not nothing against Glenn Hughes. I mean, but I mean, I can't really imagine Glenn Hughes like, making this like, the commitment for the rest of his life. I mean, I don't think it was very shocking that he only did a couple records with the band. And was that the plan from the beginning that he would just like do a few records and, it wasn't going to be like a
Yeah,
long time
yeah, it was
commitment?
it no, it's that's the way that the band was kind of formed in the beginning, was that people could kind of come and go as they want, uh, because David wanted to work with musicians that were going to bring, recognition to the band. And so, and then people will like what happened with, like I said, Dizzy and Richard went back to GNR. And the bottom line is that Karabi is really, we did a best of album last year, and we were putting the songs together that was going to go on that. And it was like obvious that John kind of has made the biggest footprint with the band. And nothing against Glenn or John Stevens at all, but it's really Karabi's the voice of the band.
Yeah, I agree. And there's been some great songs like "Make Some Noise" is such a great anthem that should be like played at every single like hockey arena, football stadium. I know that it was being played on for a couple
It
football.
was, yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It's we have a sports agent that he's basically, when we get a new song out, or he'll listen to an album or whatever, and he'll go, oh man, this could be really good for sports. So the first time it happened with him was with Make Some Noise, and we got everyone from the New York Yankees baseball team to NASCAR, and a lot of people were using it. And then on the next album, Burn It Down, we used Rise Up, but a bunch. That was cool. For some football teams, the Phoenix Cardinals, and a bunch of just, different things, Fox Sports. And then with Light 'Em Up, it actually, they're not really, the song's not really for sale or anything yet, but somebody I think it was, the Yankees are using it again, and some NHL teams, but it's just cool to get stuff attached to sports teams. It's like a good mix.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It gets so much more, the song gets so much more exposure that way. When you write
Yeah.
a song, you kind of take that in mind, like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to get this, like, out there where like a sports team can use it. Is that like a consideration that you use, or is it something that just kind of happens?
We did make it a consideration on Make Some Noise. We were just in there like, man, we should, because we had just started working with this agent, and we were like, we should make a song just for fun. And somebody said, hey, what should be simple? And I had this idea, like, what about that Give Peace a Chance? When John Lennon's with Yoko, and it's like do do that, do that, and you can hear the vocal phrasing is kind of similar. So I said we could do something like that with a beat, and then somebody goes, yeah, that's cool. That's the da 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 da, the phrasing. And then it goes into give peace all we are saying, give peace a chance. So at that point, somebody goes, well, then what would you do for a riff? And I just went, and it was like, okay. Turned into a song, and it was like, what would be a good thing at sporting? And we said, Make Some Noise. But the tune was so catchy, we decided it's got to go on the album. But the other stuff, we haven't really focused on that since, but it did open the door for us.
Yeah. Give us a little insight into some of the new material that that you guys wrote for this record. I mean, are we is it still your straight ahead, Dead Daisies? Are there some ballads on there, or what can we expect?
There's actually, that's a good question. It's a really interesting record, because normally with John, we would just keep it straight, straight in the gut, rock and roll. But we did take a couple left turns on this with a few different grooves, and then there's a track that turned into kind of like an epic track. We had been down in Alabama at Muscle Shoals writing and doing stuff. We actually did a bunch of blues songs down in Muscle Shoals that probably come out later in the year or something next year. I'm not sure, but while we were there, we got inspired, and we were writing a bit, and one of these songs turned into like an epic track that fit on this album. And it's really cool, because I don't think the Daisies has ever had like an epic long track like that kind of starts in one place and goes somewhere else, and then some different lyrical content. John's lyrics are really cool. He's really writing about something that's important to him, or something that simple, like Light 'Em Up. He's just like, let's go, one more shot, one more round, light 'em up, let's go. It's just a kind of a thing where he got to experiment a bit more and do some deeper subjects, which is cool, because you can understand what he's talking about. And when we were writing, basically everyone just brought in their ideas, and Marty Fredrickson would go, why don't we work on something fast? Who's got a fast riff? Maybe I had one, or somebody had one, and we would just do it together, play live, kind of get the song roughed in together live, record it, and move on. And just we got about 15 songs going, and then Marty said, these are the 10 that I think we should focus on. And then we kind of go through them again, relearn them, and update them, make improvements, edits, whatever we want to do. We play it live, And once we get a good basic band track, that's the first part of the song. And then, John would go away and finish writing the lyrics.
Wow, that sounds great. One of my, of course, a lot of people like associate John with Motley Crue and the
Yeah.
1994 Motley Crue record, and I felt that was for Motley Crue, that was a pretty, lyrically a deep record and musically experimental for them. And
Yeah.
it'd be
Yeah.
cool if the Dead Daisies, I'm from what you said about this new record, it kind of sounds like it's kind of going down that road a bit.
It is. It's really interesting that I'm glad you brought it up because um, it was just we did it very quickly. We recorded the record we wrote and recorded it in 2 weeks basically
Wow.
because we just did it live, and then John would come back and do the vocals, and I had put the solos on later or whatever. But yeah, he's always got, John he's a funny guy, and he's you know like he likes to have fun at the gigs, and he's a great MC at the concerts, but he's also an intelligent cat. Like, he knows what he's talking about, and he just had some deep subjects that he thought were cool that fit the music. So that's what we did. So yeah, the record is definitely, of course you always want it to be your best one. So, but we'll let you guys decide.
Yeah, I have a feeling it may very well be from what you said, and based on the first single, this first single just is just a scorcher with, I mean, your guitar playing again, I mean, is just incredible, and I think that's one of the big things about the Dead Daisies is your guitar work and your riffs that you put into them. I mean, they're very unique, powerful riffs, a lot of arena rock riffs, and that's what people want to hear. That want to listen to like classic, you know, good rock and roll music. You don't really
Well,
get that too much anymore.
again, thank you for the kind words. I mean, I'm always searching, bro. I'm still like, I mean, I have the same attitude as I did when I was, in my 20s or in my teens. I'm searching to get better, trying to find, you're always learning. There's always stuff you can learn from other players or from experiences. I appreciate what you're saying, but I still got my heroes. My heroes are the big dogs,
You've played, like you mentioned earlier, you played with some of the biggest bands in the world. You played with Dio, you played in Whitesnake. The Dead Daisies are on their way up. How does playing with the Dead Daisies compare to playing with with Ronnie James Dio or with David Coverdale?
Well, that's also a good question. This is like a little closer to the Dio-esque kind of vibe, because when you basically are you're part of the family, and we, just like anything, we will have we'll have disagreements about stuff or whatever, because you really care about what you're doing, of course, and everybody wants the best. And that's what makes it a family. It's like, a family goes through periods like that where there's issues and you got to get through it and deal with it. And that's what we do. And we do it together. And that's what we did with Dio. The first day when I joined Ronnie's band, it was a long time ago, but I never forget this. I pulled up in my car, and it was the first day to start recording. And I pulled out a Marshall amp I was about to pull it out of the back of my car. And this big giant guy called Scott, we called him Turbo because he was just giant, like a WWE wrestler. He goes, "Dude, don't touch that." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "You're in the band, bro. You're part of the family. You don't pick up amps anymore." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, that's my job." I'm like, "Okay." And that's the same thing that David Lowy set up with the Dead Daisies, is everyone's got their job and position, and we work together and we work it out. And we basically come in with team effort that makes it work, And in Whitesnake, it was a little different. It was more like just me and David writing. We just out of, not really for any reason other than we got on a roll and we were writing a lot together and having fun hanging, and everybody else lived in other places. I was the closest one, so it just kind of worked out that way. But I'm really proud of the work that I did with David, and he taught me a lot about songwriting and about different things. He basically made me become an engineer in a sense. Not that I could do what a real engineer does, but he basically would stick me down in the studio and go, I do a mix. Just give me something so I can listen to it. And I'd be like, yeah, but I don't really know what I'm doing. He's like, you'll figure it out. Just try it, just get it to where you think it sounds good. And it just went from there to being a co-producer with him on a bunch of records and projects. But it was different. It was kind of like David and then me and then the band kind of in an order like that. But the Daisies, like Dio, it was definitely more of a family.
Yeah. Now, it was your decision to leave Whitesnake. Was that must have been a difficult decision to make at the time?
Yeah, it was definitely, it was serious. It was, I was going through a divorce and I had been gone so much. That's probably what caused the divorce in the first place. But I was just 100% dedicated to Whitesnake for a long time, and it was going great. But then my relationship fell apart, and at that point, I just wanted to be home with my boy. And he was 4 at the time, and so it was like I tried to keep it to where I could stay in Whitesnake and do that. But in the end, David really wanted to carry on. He really wanted me to do what I'd been doing for the past years, which is basically working 24/7 with him on new material. At that time, he was doing, he wanted to do the Deep Purple record. And I started helping him with demos and doing my thing. And I'd fly in and out. He was just like, what would it take for you to move here? And I was like, it's not about the money. It's just, I need time with my boy. It's like, it's really, I want to make sure he's okay. And for me, I wanted to be okay. I wanted to be with him. And so I took this gig in Vegas and I said, I can fly in and see you every week, David. And he said, I don't know, man. It was starting to upset him. So that's when I was like, I don't want to upset you. You're my bro. Like, so I'm just going to step away. And I know there's a billion guitar players that would love to be in Whitesnake. So that's how it went down.
Wow. All right. Well, Doug,
But
I appreciate.
To me, but I just want to say this, Thomas. To me,
Yeah.
You can't look back on anything and go like, oh, that was wrong or that was bad. That was the right decision for me, and I think it's truly the best decision for me. So, and I wouldn't, I'm having a blast with the Daisies. We're firing on all 12 cylinders right now with John. We got Michael Devin on bass. He's insane. Tommy Clafettos. Him and Tommy together, they both sound incredible. They bring out the best in each other. Michael is very melodic but heavy, and Tommy's probably the most. Sorry about that. I was getting a call, brother. Tommy's probably the loudest drummer that I've ever worked with. But then we got me and David on there, and it's just working. It feels good.
Yeah, are you guys? A lot of times or most of the times I've seen the Dead Daisies, you guys were an opening band for some major arena tour. Do you think you're going to continue, as a headliner like you currently are, and headline smaller places and clubs and work up to theaters and that, or do you think you might, be interested in hooking up on a major tour again?
We're basically open for anything. We had some dates we were gonna do with Alice Cooper this year, but we couldn't. To be honest, I don't think we could get the buses. The buses it was like a last minute tour thing, opportunity that came up for us, and we wanted to do it, but we couldn't get buses they were all sold or rented. And so that we ended up doing this, starting with this US run. But we're open to anything really, and these gigs they vary in size. Like we'll be doing smaller places in the US right at the moment. But then, like yesterday, we did House of Blues. It's a pretty good venue, and packed. And then our UK tour. It's been a while since we've been there with John, so I reckon that's going to be a lot of fun. And Europe, we're playing all kinds of places. But yeah, of course, if there's an opportunity to hook up with another band, either support them or somebody support us that makes sense. That sounds good, man. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. Well, Doug, I want to wish you luck for your gig tonight and your next gig on the tour, and hopefully you'll get over here to Western New York sometime soon, and we can rock out with the Dead Daisies again.
Let's do that, man. Sounds good. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate you, man.
All right, you take it easy, Doug. Thanks again.
Thanks, brother. Bye.